get started here with Coach. Actually, hang on one second. I've got to turn on the, sorry, Coach. Turn on the. Okay. All right, I'll turn it over to you for an opening statement, and we've got a lot of people lined up for questions.
Good afternoon. Blew in today. Goodness, my goodness. Not a good golfing day, Lauren, that's for sure. But it's postseason time. It's a great time of year. It's one that I think all basketball fans, I think all basketball coaches, and I think all players, it's what they live for. It's what we truly get excited about. Yesterday was a great day for our program in terms of individual accolades, and you guys all know those, and could not be prouder of every single one of the guys that got them. It's a team effort to get those with success as a group and as a team come individual accolades. We stress that, we talk about that. I thought they were all very well deserved. I think in Io's case, maybe unfortunate that he misses 3 games, as he could have been very easily been player of the year. In my opinion, Luke is outstanding and obviously been a thorn in everybody's side for 4 years and had a phenomenal year. And I'm obviously very biased towards Io. Again, really proud of the success that everybody had. But again, that comes with the team. Be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about Josh's letter, how much that means to me and our players, and our program. I think we all fight, and we all long, not fight, that's not the right word. We all long for relationships with people that will fight for you and will go to battle for you. And when you truly believe something is right, and Josh was right there. Josh is right there, but after every game in the hug line, and he's a guy that went to battle, and I'm appreciative as a coach that I have that support. I know all of our players are, and we've got we won 16 games, being 16-4, the most in the history of our program in Big Ten play, and did everything that was asked of us by the league office, and to have an athletic director that goes to battle for you is pretty darn good, and it's a pretty good feeling. And to him, I say thanks, and at some point we'll make sure this team gets recognized the right way, and so that there's nothing left. This team will always be remembered, and I'll make sure that happens. So in the meantime, great day for our program yesterday. Big Ten tournament. We've been playing for a lot all year, and we've accomplished a great deal. We've got a lot more to go. So we'll wait on obviously Rutgers or Indiana that winter, and we've had a day or two to take off and kind of heal up, and then it's back to the practice court, and get ready for what we hope is a very long stay in Indy.
During the time that you have before you go, or maybe while you're in Indy, will you be able to tweak things like, for example, Kofi's free throw shooting?
It's more reps. We're getting him a lot of reps. I mean, Kofi just, it's finding a rhythm, finding a comfort, and he spent a lot of time on it. He's been multiple sessions every day. So, he'll be fine. He'll make them.
And Steve Peichel talked about how the football stadium affects a distance shooter or 3-point shooting. They either Indiana or Rutgers will have a slight advantage having played a game in that room before you meet them. If they get off to a hot start, you get off to a cold start, do you try to get it inside more? Do you change your scheme?
No, I mean, it's the line's 19-9. We'll adjust. It's or whatever it is now, I guess. We'll adjust. We've got an hour before our game. We will not be in there prior to that. We've been a good shooting team. Our philosophy has always been to start inside first, to get the ball inside and play from there anyway. We're a good shooting team, but we haven't lived and died by the three. So, closer you are to the basket, the better chance it has to go in, and we'll start from there.
Thanks, Brad.
Brad, your seed or your spot in the NCAA tournament is secure. You're likely to be playing a team that will be fighting and needing a deep run in this tournament to get into March Madness. What are the dynamics of that, of a secure position versus maybe a bit of a wounded dog?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be ready for all of that. I think that's one of the exciting things about conference tournaments. You play for a seed, you play for a spot, and yet you've got teams that are fighting and scrapping for entry into the tournament or whatever it is, and you've got to be prepared for all that. And for us, it's motivation to keep doing what we're doing, keep playing well, and to keep staying hungry, keep the pedal to the metal, and that's been our mindset all along. And it's one bad game and you injure Big Ten tournament, and one bad game and you injure NCAA tournament, and we can't afford any of those.
Typically, when we talk to you before games, do you have a little bit of your thoughts on the opposing team? You don't know that yet. Is that something you could speak to now? Just thoughts on either Indiana or Rutgers, or I don't know if we're going to talk to you again before Friday.
Well, one beat us early, and we had two great games with Indiana, and they're both, in my opinion, they're both NCAA tournament teams. They both have great individual talent. They're both extremely well coached, and it'll be a very interesting game between them to see who wins. And as evidenced in this league, as we've seen throughout, anybody can beat anybody, and that's why it's the best league in the history of the game. So nothing will shock me. You got to be on your best to win.
Thanks.
Hey, Coach, at the beginning of the year, you said that it was a challenge to get this team to where last year's team was in March, ready to contend for a national title. A, I guess, are you there? And B, what was the biggest challenge to get this year's team there?
Well, every team's got its own different dynamic and personalities, and when you mesh, it's no different than anybody. You put a group of people in a room and they get to know each other, they can interact. Now you start taking three or four of them out and you interject three or four other personalities, and it's a whole different chemistry and vibe. And we did that with Coleman, with Adam, with Bello, and so it takes a little bit to figure all of that out. I think we've surpassed where we were a year ago in terms of the level of play that we've had here at the end. I think has been higher than it was a year ago. But again, there's a growth process. I mean, all you have to do is watch us early and watch us now, and it's like two different teams. So that's why it's a long season, and that's why we play the games, is to figure it out so we can get to this point.
I think there's a perception maybe around the Big Ten that Illinois has sour grapes and they're whining about Michigan being the champ. How do you respond to that? And it's not like you're talking about it all the time. It's not like it's on the forefront of Illinois basketball, is it?
Absolutely not. This doesn't have anything to do with Michigan. Jawan and his crew had an unbelievable year. They're deserving. This doesn't have one thing to do with their program or anybody else. That's not that's not taking one thing away from them. They had a phenomenal year. They have great players. You know, Juwan was very deserving of Coach of the Year. This doesn't have anything to do with them. So, you know, and my deal is keep them forward. We've been playing for the NCAA tournament, the seeding, for a long time.
Thank you.
Hey, Brad. Andre, kind of ran into a little bit of wall in those middle part of the season. How was he able to bounce out of that? What makes him the kind of player who is able to kind of get back on the right track and obviously end up with the awards and accolades he has?
Well, one, he's really, really good. He's a really talented kid. I mean, he has got scary talent. You know, and secondly, you know, and for lack of a better term, he's an alpha. He's a kid that's got a personality that he wants to be he's always been the best player. He wants to be that guy. He's capable of that. He knows that. And it was, you know, an adjustment role for him a good amount of the year, and playing in different roles, feeling like he didn't have to do something great every time he had the ball. And he's matured and really grown into that. And now we got a group of guards who I think are as good as any in America.
And heading back to Indianapolis, do you personally find yourself mentally going back to last year and that feeling, or is that far removed being a year out?
So you brought it up. I haven't thought about it. New team, different mindset, too much to think about going forward rather than looking back on something I can't change.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad, thanks for taking the time. You mentioned Io off the top. How, in your mind, has he grown as a player and a leader during his time at Illinois?
Oh, in every facet. I mean, we can talk about his work ethic. You know, there's a great example of I mean, it's hard to find anybody that works harder than him. That becomes reflective of in his teammates. They see best player working really hard. You see and I'll go back to the last game. You want to talk about maturity. I think he went 9 minutes and didn't score, and yet that doesn't affect him. Some guys pout, some guys get all up, you know, I'm going to start gunning in the second half. Just an unbelievable patience and unbelievable confidence in his ability. And, you know, when the game's on the line, he goes and makes every play. And all of a sudden you look down there and he's got 19. You know, he's grown defensively, you know, to have triple doubles, to become a vocal leader. You name it, he's done it. He's grown in every capacity.
You mentioned off the top about this is a time that you live for, the NCAA tournament in March. How do you think Io will respond or raise his level when the stakes are the highest in an NCAA tournament?
That's what he's built for.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Brad. You are 29-11 in Big Ten play with Kofi Coburn on your roster. How has he impacted that?
That's a pretty good record. Yeah, you know, he's imposing. He's different. He's a you know, he's such a different piece than what most people have, and in such a positive way. And you know, the physical size, the what he does defensively, probably goes underappreciated because of his size, his length, his athleticism. But yeah, he's impacted us and had a huge part in helping us.
How
get
much
to
of
that
what you
record.
do is designed with him?
I mean, a lot of our, you know, our initial thought process and change defensively was figuring out how to play with him. You know, so that's first. And then I think offensively, I've always been, as I mentioned earlier, the closer you get to the basket, the better chance it has to go in. And when you've got a 7-foot guy who can go dunk a bunch of balls, and that forces teams to have to help, forces teams to have to tag. We would be very foolish if we didn't utilize him in those capacities. And everybody becomes better because of Kofi's presence.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, Brad, last year's NCAA tournament cancellation kind of changes things, but the Illinois program is going to go, 8 years without an NCAA tournament to a number 1 seed. Just what do you kind of think about that jump? Although there was kind of a misstep there last year.
Yeah, and I get it from the program perspective. I guess I don't. Anytime you're a 1 seed, you've done a lot of really good things. If that's where we end up, I think we're worthy of that. It's sure not easy. There's 349 other teams that people say that we're better than, and out of the 353, and I look at it as, last year was an NCAA tournament team. We didn't play the games, but I still see just the natural progression. That was an NCAA tournament team. This year we're better, and so in my eyes, I don't see the jump quite that steep as an 8-year no tournaments to a 1 seed. I look at it as a more progressive jump and more, but no, hey, you could tell me I could be a number 1 seed every year I'm in. Sign me up now. It's a really, really good thing. And it's really hard to do.
I mean, just have you kind of looked at just what being a number 1 seed, what the number 1 seed teams do, just in terms of, it seems like on average they're due for a Sweet 16 run. I mean, do you think about that at all?
I don't. I know there's definite advantage to that, but making a Sweet 16 run is not quite where we're at, or where I'm thinking anyway. So I look at the supposed advantage. It'll be a little different this year because they're not home sites and home regions. We've got fans that can sway in a top seed, but we're a 1 seed, and that's a good thing. And we still gonna have to play great games all the way across the board, and we'll see where we end up, Scott.
Thanks, Brad.
But I get the sense sometimes that your team plays better when it's striving for something, or kind of like an underdog role in a sense, with the carrot dangling there. Have you sensed that at all about your team rising up for big games in a sense?
Yeah, there's no doubt we're a great hunter. We're great at when we're chasing something, and believe me, we're chasing a lot right now. So there's no doubt we feel that, we pray on that, we talk about that. I create it. I want to create it, and yet I want to make sure it's channeled the right way.
How do you create that in a sense when you are going to be a number 1 seed, or you're the 2nd seed in the Big Ten tournament and seemingly everyone's looking at you?
That's, again, it's all a matter of what your perspective is. Some people look at it as they're chasing us because we're a higher seed. What we're trying to chase is something beyond, beyond that. It's, our goals are set pretty high, and we're going to keep chasing those.
Thanks.
Hey, Brad, sticking with the Big Ten tournament, obviously you guys will go back to back to back if you win 2 games. What's the preparation like in preparation for possibly playing 3 straight games and 3 straight days?
Well, you got to find that balance. We actually came in Sunday after the Ohio State game, watched film. We shot a bunch of free throws. We did nothing up and down. We did nothing on the court other than just keep a ball in our hand. We went really good Monday. We got after it and a lot up and down, good amount of running. And then we took yesterday off. And then today will be a good solid, hour 45, 2-hour session. And then we'll, figure out who we're, as with a little emphasis on both teams, and trying to cover a little bit of what they may do. But, about 40 minutes of offense, 40 minutes of defense, and a little us and us in the process. But rest is important, and we just went through this at the end of the year almost with 1-day preps, and this year we've got quick turnarounds, so we'll have to manage that.
Yesterday, you had 4 players get recognized by the Big Ten, ranging from unanimous first team, second team, honorable mention, all the way down to defensive player and 6th man of the year. For you, is that a great recruiting pitch to other young upcoming guys that want to join Illinois' program, knowing that you can achieve this?
Just saying. I think that'll
Thanks,
probably
Brad.
find its way into a presentation.
Hey, Coach, does the Big Ten title slight, does it amplify the importance of going and getting a Big Ten tourney title?
I want to get through the Big Ten tournament without COVID. I want to be a 1 seed. Do we want to win every game? Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, we're going to try to continue to play the best basketball we can play. And if we're playing on Sunday and whoever we're playing against, if we're that fortunate, we'll be amped up and ready to play.
Nice.
All right, I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, just seems like IO has this like blueprint kind of for success and unique to me. I'm wondering how you've observed that and how unique that is, and what you've gotten to know about him and his family's approach to kind of continuously building him up and reaching those goals.
No, it's an all in. The family is all in. His support is, his situation, it is unique, and it is very, very supportive, and on all fronts. From it's one of the things I missed a lot this year was, his family at games, and but he's got a family that's all in. He's all in. He's committed. Io's a young guy that maybe 2K's his social habit, but he's very committed to becoming the best player he can be, and see where that takes him. And his family's very, very supportive of that. They're behind him. They do it in a very, very positive way and reinforcing way, and he handles that great. So he is very blessed, Shannon, to have mom and dad, sisters, aunts and uncles, everybody that's there to support him.
And on a less serious note, you joked, or maybe you were actually serious, about hoping there's a good dry cleaner in Indianapolis, and just that long stay here. I guess 2 things on that too is just like, what do you plan to pack, and how do you ward off boredom or that kind of sitting around sluggishness among the team, among players, young guys? That it's going to be a long stretch here.
I think that's going to be one of the things that we're going to have to adapt to a little bit on the fly. I'm a very big, guys have to get outdoors. Guys have to see some sun. They've got to see some fresh air, and they can't sit. They're going to be in a room by themselves. We're taking treadmills, we're taking bicycles, we're taking weights, we're taking our 2K games, we're setting them up down in our meeting room. We're taking a portable basketball goal that we can set up, and guys shoot free throws. And we're a team that desperately needs interaction. We're taking a card table, so we can play cards, and I'm the worst. I mean, 30 minutes in a hotel by myself and I'm climbing the walls. I want to go sit in the lobby or go sit in the meeting room and do that, but we'll have to adapt. I spent over an hour packing last night starting, and I'm taking, we're dressed casual, so thank goodness I don't have to take suits and this shirts and everything else. But you know, I don't have to worry about jeans or slacks or anything else because we can't go anywhere. And so it's sweats, shorts, t-shirts, and a whole bunch of underwear and socks.
And when you mentioned like the bringing treadmills, where do those go? A meeting, like will each team have like their own meeting room in a hotel, you're saying, and you
Yeah,
can kind of
we
stuff
do.
that stuff in there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, we'll have our own, you know, we'll have our Peloton bikes in there, and we'll have our treadmill in there, and we'll get after it. And I don't know, I may come out of this thing about 180. I mean, because I'm not going to sit in the room and twiddle my thumbs, and you can only do that so long. So we'll start, instead of walking, we'll get on the Peloton and get after it.
You should lead a workout group for all of us.
Yeah, I would probably not be the best guy for that, but yeah, if need be, I could do it.
That'd be more fun for these Zooms. All right, that's it for me. Thanks.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned Josh's letter earlier. You said how much you appreciated it. In any ways, did he put a target on you even bigger than you already had as the number 2 seed and number 1 seed in the NCAA?
Oh, I didn't look at it like that at all. I looked at it as an athletic director fighting for his program, and that this didn't have anything to do with any other program. There was no target meant to be put out there for anybody. I think it was just the sheer love of our players and support of our program, and I didn't look at it that way, and don't. I'm just very appreciative.
It's been a long time since you guys have been in a tournament. Is there any concerns from you about kind of how you guys will react to that day by day, game by game?
Shit, it hadn't been that long for me now.
That's a good point.
Don't start lumping me into all the others. I mean, it's been a few years, but gosh darn now, come on. So we'll help them get through it. We'll be there. We'll be fine.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, I'll take you back a little bit. So in 2016, in Stephen F. Austin, you start 7-5, and then you win 21 in a row. In your 1 year at Oklahoma State, you start 10-8, then win 10 of the next 11. This year, you start 9-5, win 11 of the next 12. What can I learn from that? What do I, is there a point in every season where it clicks? What is that?
I'm a really bad coach in November and December, I guess. Gosh darn. I don't know. I mean, I think that you have to find out who you are. I think I strive for that. I don't, there's nothing that drives me nuts, and it's why I schedule up. I don't want to go into league play and not have, I mean, it looks great. Hey, everybody's happy. You're 11-0 and you've played nobody, and you've never been punched, and you've never felt adversity, and you don't know who you are. And I want to find out who we are as soon as I can find that out. I want to find out who can play, who can't. I want to find out who can handle stress, who can't. And through that, there's some lessons that have to be learned. And you've got to challenge yourself to do that. I'm 100% behind that and believe in that. We found out who we were against Baylor. We found out who we were on the road against Missouri. There was things that even though we lost, you learn valuable lessons, and you got to make some changes. And so far we've made some of the right changes, and that's been really positive.
And was there a single moment in January, when this started, that you saw maybe at a practice or anything else of like, okay, it's starting to?
No, this year was really gradual, to be very honest. I saw us getting better as our freshmen continued to find their way. I saw us getting better. We made as our role identification became better. I think it was, last year, I can tell you, I mean, after the Christmas break, after the Missouri game, I knew we'd made some changes and we got beat 100 at Michigan State, but I knew we were on the right track. And this year was much more gradual than that. It was just becoming more dialed in offensively. I knew we would get better defensively. We were making scouting report mistakes. Those are correctable. So this year became pretty gradual, to be honest.
Thanks.
Hey, Brad, it seemed like, especially towards the beginning of the year, Kofi sometimes struggled when teams doubled down on him to, find open men out on the perimeter. And, I'm just wondering, do you think that that's something where he's been showing improvement down the stretch? Because it seems like to me that there has been some there, although it may still be an area where he wants to improve.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things that we proved early we could shoot three, and we were going to be a good shooting team. So now you pick your poison, double Kofi or give up three. And so that all that's gone hand in hand. He's much better at reading it. He knows where it's coming from. Again, it's just comfort and experience. And Kofi's a very willing passer. Sometimes when he's got 2 feet in the paint, I just don't want him to pass it. Just, go up through everybody.
And then it seems like there's some Illini fans who are really excited to be making their way to Indy to see this team in person. What is the team's reaction to having, people who have been supporting from afar, finally being there in real life?
Oh, it's exciting. That's the biggest disappointment of the year. We're playing, and that's the most important thing, but it has been 8 years for the fans, and it's been, whatever. It's been a long while, and I understand that. And for them not to be able to experience it last year, for them not to be able to even come to a game this year and experience that. I've said it many times, we've got the best fans in the country, and they're passionate and they're proud and they're excited. And for those who get to be there, I'm very happy for them, and it means a lot to our guys too.
Brad, Huggs is 1 win away from 900, which I'm sure he doesn't really care about, but it's still kind of a big deal. I was hoping you might give your thoughts on what he's kind of meant to you.
Cool. So here's one of the things that's so disappointing is that he didn't get in the Hall of Fame, and this year, and he will be. But when you start thinking about 900 wins. And then let's go look at where he did that at. Okay, it wasn't a blue blood. There's not a blue blood in there. Okay, you're talking Walsh College. Okay, you're talking Akron. You're talking Cincinnati, which was non-existent until he got there, and was in a bad place. You're talking 1 year at Kansas State, and now 14 or 15 at West Virginia. Not any of those are blue bloods, and to do what he has done to me is remarkable. First of all, he's not just a dear friend. He's a guy that I think's arguably one of the best coaches in the history of the game. But he's magical with people. He's generous. He's got a lot of qualities that just reek of success. And he'll before it's all done, he'll be pushing that 1,000 mark, and to think that he's been on the sideline that many games just means he's getting old. But gosh darn, he's as good as they get in this business.
I hope you take this the right way, but can you take us back and tell us why he hired a coach from junior college to help him out at a D1 program?
Yeah, it was a 15-year relationship. When I was a junior college coach, I had a couple players that he recruited at Cincinnati, and Huggs did it different at Cincinnati. I mean, he was a guy that wasn't afraid to take junior college talent. Back then, junior college players were great players, were dotted all over junior college basketball, and it was a relationship. We just stayed in touch, and we kept connecting, and we'd see each other every summer recruiting, and it was just it's a great fit. It gave me an opportunity to come back to my alma mater when he got the job, and was 15 years in the making.
Thanks, Brad. Stay safe.
Thank you.
All right, I think that was the last one for Coach. Coach, don't hang that up because I'm going to transition back downstairs and we'll get going with IO here in a few minutes.
Get to the important